AEL and OMONOIA have a lot of similarities as teams and as a football philosophy, mentality. They've got the Kerkes and Berg written all over them, and προπονητές τους and το Alpha και το Omega.
Edo, welcome to another edition of Anorthosis on the OLB. I'm your host, Stel, and my co-host as ever, Kyrie Roy.
Hello, Stel. Hello, boys.
Hello, world.
hello, people.
How you doing?
Yeah, not bad actually, man. I'm okay. I'm fine.
You're in Limassol at the moment.
Yeah. I'm in Limassol at the moment. We came for the day, for a few hours basically because of the lockdown, and so I'm working away from home for the podcast.
You're in AEL and Apollon zone, aren't you? You're in enemy territory.
All the island is green, man.
Very, very true. Do you know, when I go to different parts of England, like for example, if I went to Newcastle, I know there's only one football team in that city. So I'm thinking everyone's going to support Newcastle. Or if I went to Bristol, for example, there's two teams in Bristol. So I know that I'm going to bump into one support. But when I go to different parts of Cyprus, there are many others everywhere.
Well,
everywhere.
There's, you must, that's why they call us the Guinesi, the Chinese, because
everywhere.
Yeah.
But hey, well, I'm glad that you're enjoying yourself in Limassol. It's a nice city, to be fair. Spent many a time there.
Very, very nice. I've got childhood memories here as well because we used to come a lot here. My dad used to work here as well. So yeah, it's always nice to be in Limassol, man.
Do you know what? This time next year, if you decide to go back to Limassol this time next year, you might have people asking for your autograph, right? Well, you might be walking down the beach, going to, the what's it called, Magario, wherever you want to go down there, little photos and all that, and people are going to be asking for your interview. Hey, Roy, no choftes. Not in it for the fame, man. Not in it for the fame.
No, we just do it for a laugh, man.
There we go. Right. Let's talk about this game then, shall we? 0-0 against the Godes. To be honest, I didn't expect it to be as entertaining as it was. And when you hear 0-0, you think, boring game. But there were a lot of chances. Unfortunately, there weren't that many clear-cut chances. And when I watched the press conference at the end of the game, I think it's quite interesting that both managers kind of agreed with each other, even though they weren't in the same room. They kind of said the same thing, lots of chances, a little bit of luck, we could have scored the goal, a little bit of luck, we would have won the game, but a fair result. And in all honesty, mate, I wouldn't have taken a draw before the game because I thought that we were going to win. I didn't expect us to win, don't get me wrong. So I'm not disappointed that we didn't win. It was always going to be a difficult game playing against them. They're never easy, regardless of how good or bad their season has been. So while I wasn't pleased with the result, I wasn't disappointed either, if that makes sense. So tell me your thoughts on the game first before we start dissecting little bits here and there.
Okay, so basically yesterday was the second game from the playoffs, and even though there's still 8 more games and 24 more available points, I think it was clear that for Anorthosis yesterday, it was a make or break game. I mean, realistically, if they had lost the game yesterday, it would have been over for them, even though it's still very difficult. But mathematically, they're there. And realistically, I think they've got around a 10% chance of coming back. But saying that, the reason I say this is to show that Anorthosis needed to win the game more than we did. And that made me believe that, it would have been a very tight game because Anorthosis, even though they had to win, they knew that they couldn't play us openly. They had to defend well because when they tried to do it last time, so yeah, I mean, αφήσαν μας την μπάλα. They gave us the possession the first half. They had a couple of chances which were bad mistakes from the defense, especially the first one when Thiago, even though Thiago is really good holding the ball, there were 3 or 4 players around him.
Lost it for too long.
And we lost the ball and they attacked with more men. But no, generally, I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you that, you know, when you say that you could have won the game and lost the game, at the end of the day, you say a draw is a fair result. I mean, I think it would have been, I think it's a fair result. Again, if we see just yesterday's game, it was okay, especially the first half, I think. But I'm starting to be a little bit concerned that it's the third game that we just scored 2 goals, and we need to step up a little bit our game, I think. Even though we don't lose and we don't concede goals, sometimes it's not enough just not to concede goals. You have to translate that too and be a little bit more efficient, like we were a few weeks ago or a month or so ago. Alane, just talking about the game yesterday, okay, you know, we'll have to wait for the game of Apollon and AEL. Maybe we'll go second, but maybe we'll open up the gap. If Apollon beats AEL, maybe we'll be 2 points ahead on top rather than 1. But it's still early and there's still a lot of games. Okay, this is a first impression. I don't know if you want me to.
Well, do you know what? I think you're spot on with what you said. There's still a long way to go.
Yeah.
Still a long, long way to go. There's still 24 points to play for now. I think that's what Ketspire said after the game, in fact. I think he said, you know, mathematically, they're still in with a chance of winning the Protathlima. But let's be honest, I think he also realizes that there's, a 7-point gap between us and them. And I think psychologically, we've got the advantage because we haven't lost in 17 now. And that's a fantastic run of form. I know a lot of fans were kind of getting on the manager's back at full time saying, oh, you know, he didn't make the substitutions quick enough or he didn't change things quick enough. But in the grand scheme of things, as I said on my Instagram, it's not a bad point, and every point counts at this stage of the season. I would rather draw than lose. And I know it's obvious to say, but from a psychological perspective as well, when you're carrying on an unbeaten run, you know, a point here and there isn't bad. Yeah. So, yeah, look, the performance overall wasn't fantastic, but at the same time, you know, I think we can't expect to play perfect football every week. When we beat Karmiodisa 5-1, when we beat Anorthosis 3-0, when we beat Apoel 3-0, when we beat AEK away from home, even those games, we blew these teams away. But there's always going to be some games where there's going to be scrappy wins or scrappy points, like last week against Olympiacos. We knew that was going to be a difficult game. Knew it. Against Apollon, when we beat them at home 2-1, we weren't the best team on the day, man. Let's be honest. But we scraped the win. And yesterday, I wouldn't say we scraped the draw. I think we were a little bit lucky not to lose the game, because if you look at the 2 chances that they had, Kvilidaya, that in the first 6 minutes that you mentioned, our 2 central defenders were ball watching. No. And the second chance, I think Huzbauer in the last minute in injury time, again, similar situation. That being said, our finishing let us down as well. If you look at Loizo, he had a chance in the first half where he dragged his shot wide. He had Asante to his right. Now, again, this is youthful exuberance, like getting excited. Perhaps if he had a little bit more composure, he would have played Ernestine. But then again, he should have got his shot on target. Shepherd had the chance. That was more like a half chance, but maybe a fit Shepherd, a fully fit Shepherd, or Shepherd in form would have got a shot on target, but he didn't get anything. And then obviously there was a Hubachan that hit the post, and Fodis at the end. So
Fodis, I expected him to do better. I mean, he was a split second late, I think. Στην when he controlled the ball and he dribbled, I thought he would have should Tarisk first time. But you said before about Loizo, his youthful enthusiasm. But then again, you've got the exact opposite, that you've got a player who's really experienced, and he should have done better. And for me, that was the biggest chance we missed, the one with Fodi. But okay. A point is a point. Clean sheet again. Like we said, okay, you can't expect that, you you're going to steamroll these teams. This is why it's playoffs. You're playing against the best. The differences in the table aren't τόσο μεγάλες. So, okay, you expect games like that. And like I said, maybe tomorrow will be 2 πόντους πάνω. Maybe not, but again, it's up to us to win it or lose it. About the game, okay, so we started with the same 11, and we repeat ourselves every week about the no surprises part. But the thing is, I don't know. Obviously, Berg has in mind that we've got two other games coming up. The second leg with APOEL, which for me is the second most important game of the season this far, after the game against Red Star. That game was the most important, and the game against APOEL for me is the second most important of the season this far, because we're talking about να προχωρήσουμε στο κύπελλο, and you know, it's a title we want to win, so whoever it was, I would have said the same. But you know, obviously, because it is APOEL, it's a chance for us to, you know, push them over the bridge and not do the
push them. I love it.
Ναι ρε φίλε, to not do any favors, ας πούμε, to them, θέλουμε να τους αναστήσουμε. So that game, so I say that just to because I expected yesterday that maybe he would have started with 2-3 other players, maybe Johnny, maybe 4D, maybe Adam in the back, maybe a change of formation, because you remember we said when we played the 4-4-2, we expected that we was going to change in the playoffs and go back to the 4-3-1. And he did it once with APOEL when Chepa was out, but since Chepa came back on, ξαναπαίζουμε 4-4-2.
Yeah.
So these are the things that, okay, I'm not surprised that we did, but I'll be surprised if we play against APOEL and then with the same 11, as πούμε. So I'm expecting to see some changes, and I don't know if that was the reason he was late substituting some players, because you know, the closer it gets to the end of the game, maybe you're thinking, you know, I don't want to risk you know, any injuries or whatever, because okay, we don't seem fresh, but at the same time the players don't look really tired. I mean, okay, obviously the energy level is not the same, it's not at the top. It's not as if they're dragging themselves and, you know, they're out of breath and they can't run. I mean, okay, so yeah, I expected to see some changes, αλλαγές, ας πούμε, εχθές, especially when the game opened up towards the end of the game, because Anorthosis, like I said, they tried to approach the game conservatively, and towards the end they tried to get the goal when it would have been late for OMONOIA to react. So maybe we could have put in some players a bit earlier, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes earlier. He put on Gagoulis, and he continues to surprise us after 2 months. And I was happy to hear at the press conference that, you know, when he was asked about Eric as well, that Eric's working hard and his time is getting near that he's going to get the chances. And I thought that Eric could have helped yesterday as well, to be honest, on the wing, and και να μπαίνει και λίγο μέσα να συγκλίνει. Αλλά ναι ρε φίλε, δεν ξέρω αν έχει κάτι άλλο που... I mean, obviously, we can break it down into different parts and talk about anything else. But for me, the general impression of the game was this, I think.
Let me ask you a question then. I think it was the 70th minute or the 60th, or well, half an hour. I think it was 60th minute, actually. Should we have had a penalty with Thiago being brought down?
You know what? You're talking about the φάση που έδωσαν επιθετικό, ναι. They gave a foul against him.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I can't see that being a penalty. I don't know. There was the VAR. Thiago stood up and he was like, okay. It wasn't like, you know, it wasn't. It's a kind of decision that if it was given to us, it would have reminded me a bit of the penalty they won the first round, and I was like, no, seriously, is this a penalty? I don't know. Okay, the way
he was clipped, right? If you watch it in normal time, you're thinking that he dived or he tripped over his own feet. When you look at the side angle, you're going to think the same thing. But when you look at the third angle that they show, which is basically behind the players, was it Rizvanis? Was that Rizvanis? Was it?
No, no news.
Yeah, he's clipped him. He's actually clipped him just inside the penalty box. And the way I see it, the way that he charged into the box, right? He took a touch. He took a touch, which was a great first touch, which is okay. It took him a little bit away at an angle. I know there was a defender in front of him, but the way I see it is that he took that touch in the box, and just as he took that touch, he was clipped. Now, if he wasn't clipped, he would have taken a shot with his right foot. Maybe the defender would have blocked it. The defender in front of him would have blocked it, but he would have got a shot away. And I honestly believe that's a penalty. I think that's a penalty. But again, people are going to say to me, oh, you're being biased. Listen, I've tried to be as balanced and as objective as possible on this podcast. And I'm not crying about it because these things happen. But for me, that's a penalty. And if you watch it, I want you to watch it again. In fact, I'm going to put it on this clip. I'm probably, as I'm talking, I'm going to have the clip on over and over again, right? For me, that's a penalty. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me saying, being a bit, that's my ring doorbell. Someone's walked past the house. I thought, lovely. But anyway, yeah. He does a pen.
Ένα πράγμα ξαναδώ τώρα. In all honesty, when I saw it, στην γλίωρη φάση μου έγινε, I was like, okay. But, there's, if he clipped him, it's a penalty. I didn't see it, but now, I want to watch it again and see. But it's also, the way the players react to the decision as well. I didn't see like Thiago complaining. I didn't see the other players around him. They didn't ask, for the VAR, even though I think he done those to VAR. But I don't know. Okay, I don't know, man. Like I said, VAR is there to help. There's fases που είναι άσπρο μαύρο. The gray areas at the end of the day is the referee who's going to decide at the end of the day. So I don't know, man. But okay, if we had a penalty and we deserved it, then we should have had it, definitely. But yeah.
I'm watching it now on my phone. It's a penalty. It's a penalty. It's a penalty. Listen, these things happen. These things happen.
Now I'm pissed off as well.
Listen, these things happen. These things happen. And you know what? There have been certain stages of this season where we've got away with some decisions. The one against Buffalo, when Lejak kicked Hepburn Murphy in the face. All right, I know he kicked the ball against his face and his foot was high, but any other day, that's a penalty. And so I think we got to be lucky with that one. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay. I don't want to sound like I'm a crybaby because, all these years, OMONOIA is the team out of the top 6 that was always complaining about the referee decisions and, the prejudice against them. And yeah, we did have like the penalty against Anorthosis, the penalty against Anorthosis στον πρώτο γύρο. That wasn't a penalty, man.
No chance. Never a penalty. Never.
Είχαμε πάλι τη φάση με τον Ερμήν, the 2 handballs as well. Είχαμε ένα άλλο παιχνίδι, ακόμα ένα παιχνίδι που είχαμε penalty. So, you try and say, okay, if it's not one-sided and it's all the time, and okay, so
we didn't get a penalty. We didn't get 2 questionable penalties against Hermes.
Not questionable, Refile.
Yeah, I'm just saying we didn't get them, and we conceded a questionable penalty against Anorthosis. Now, this isn't me again being a crybaby or any kind of conspiracy theorist, but if those 2 clubs didn't have the presidents that they have, do you think those penalties would have been given?
Okay, Refile. You're opening up a really big topic now.
A can of worms?
Nah,
I think we should get some more people on board and open this can of worms even more, because I think this is something that needs to be addressed, in all fairness, because we've spoken at length. Well, I won't say at length. We've spoken in the past about the possible corruption in Cypriot football and the way that some referees conduct their business, i.e. one of them going on a jog with Anorthosis players, which I'm not going to go into. But this is something that's been going on for a long time.
If you know, there's a referee that had a business with a chairman of another club of Nicosia, and so on and so forth. We're talking about a πρωτάθλημα που έχει κότσινους φακέλους, is dirty. I mean, because there's a lot of other people listening to us from other countries as well. I know I don't want to.
We don't want to paint a bad picture of Cyprus or Cypriot football.
It's not, you know, Angelica Plasmeno. It's not, you know, angels and running the show, but you know, they bomb the houses and the cars of referees, and there's a reason. Why don't they bomb my house, man? And then
this is it. This is it. But hey, yeah, you're right. I did open a can of worms. We better put a lid on it just for now, anyway. Just for now. But let me ask you something, because I've had a lot of friends in the UK who don't speak Greek or aren't Cypriot, and they said to me, "Why do you keep putting pictures of chickens whenever OMONOIA play Anorthosis?" And I tried to explain to them in the best way I possibly can, but it's very difficult for me to translate it in English, because they're chickens, right? But there's another word. It's a phoenix, isn't it? It's their phoenix because of they moved from Famagusta to Larnaca, and the club's been reborn, isn't it? But we will call them the goddess because of the phoenix. It looks like a chicken.
It's that and the Podetsi, because we call Andonis Papadopoulos, which is the home ground, we call it Exochico, which is house outside like a villa that we go and have our holidays. And the other one is the Kotetsi, which is the coop with chickens. That's what we call it. So hence the term goddess.
Joe, I love how they come up with these these terms, these names of clubs, because in England it's a different kind of thing. Like there's more aggression towards the English way of saying things. Like the rivalry between clubs in Manchester and Liverpool is so heated, and you know it's become very, very personal in terms of over the years. Anyway, not so much these days. But you know, Manchester United fans say that Liverpool fans don't have jobs and they eat rats and that kind of stuff, and the fans from Liverpool call Man United fans other different things. So but in Cyprus, I find it hilarious, because you can tell there's the rivalry there, but they take the piss out of each other more than anything. You know, it's brilliant. So when I get on these Instagram videos, and my friends are like, well, why'd you put up pictures of tires whenever you're playing up well? Man. And again, it's so difficult to translate it to them, because there's no like direct translation that makes sense in from a cultural perspective. But it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
And that's it. It's nice to joke, you know. It's nice to joke and take the piss and accept it back, you know. As long as it stays there, man, you know. As long as it's, you know. Well, I don't know. Growing up, you know, these things change. You sort of understand, like you said last time when the Apollon NIL fans, you know, were throwing a lot of bombs and. Someone could have easily died, you know. You just say,
what's all that about anyway, Ray? I don't understand. I mean, okay, I get club rivalries, I get it, and we've seen it so many times over the years with, you know, Partizan Belgrade and Red Star Belgrade, those kind of rivalries in Eastern Europe and, you know, South America. You hear about stuff like this, but you know, this is Cyprus, and it's an island of what, 1 million people.
If so, yeah.
Everyone kind of knows each other in one way, shape, or form. So for people to be doing that to each other, and they're from the same city as well. This is the thing. I could kind of understand if it was someone in Buffer doing it to someone in Lefkosia, because you're thinking it's a fair distance. It's not a long distance, but it's a fair distance. So maybe they don't know each other, but you're in the same city. You could be doing that to your next door neighbor's niece or nephew. Yeah. I don't understand it. I don't understand it in the first place, but I don't understand why something so close to home would happen.
Fanatismos. I remember as a kid, we used to go to the stadium together with Apoel fans. That's the same car. On the one hand, the green colors. On the other hand, the yellow colors. and we go, and then like when the game finishes, we'll meet up here and we'll go back home together. And it was like that. It was it wasn't so much, but I don't know what changed in the years, man. And me as a 40-plus-year-old, I lived that sort of rivalry with APOEL. So for me, I've got a lot of friends who are with APOEL, and we can sit down and take the piss out of each other. Okay, if I feel that someone, is a bit more sensitive, or I'm not gonna, rub something in or, speak my mind. I'll be a bit more diplomatic, but, we're friends at the end of the day. And yeah, I can't imagine myself, I don't know, throwing stones or, potatoes with blades or, kicking someone when he's on the floor, like 20, 30 people kicking them on the head. Why? What does that have to do with football, man, or loving your team? But then again, okay, it's not as if I don't understand. I'm not naive not to understand. It's a social thing. It's a lot of things. Again, we open up another can of worms, and this is a subject by itself that we can talk about. Because
I think it'll be interesting to get other fans from different clubs on the podcast and hear their views.
And they want to jump on, and but we can even get some kinoniologues or psychologues, sociologists, psychologists, or even younger fans, because the way the fans are now is a lot different to, like I said, how we grew up as fans. They hate each other, man, nowadays. And I don't know what happened.
Let me tell you something, right? I make no, I don't hide the fact that Man United is my club in England, right? And I remember going to Anfield. It was, let me think of the year, it was 2002, I want to say, 2001, 2002. And I was obviously in the away end, and above us were the Liverpool fans.
Yeah.
And you can feel something wet on your shoulder, like they're chucking things from the top. What the fuck is going on? Turns out they had their cups, the plastic cups that they were drinking their beer from at half time in the concourse. They were filling them up with kadurima and they were throwing it over, Now you think, yes, obviously it's a disgusting thing, but even back then, that was normal. That was normal. I remember going to watch, it was United against Roma in the Champions League, the 7-1.
Yeah.
And all the Roma ultras, because there was problems in Rome before the first leg. I think a Man United fan got stabbed.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was, right, the Roma fans are going to come to Manchester and they're going to get revenge on them. So all the ultras were standing outside the stadium with all the police around them. And there was just the normal Roma fans walking up and down the streets. And there were Man United fans. When I tell you there, I was disgusted. As a supporter watching it, your own fans throwing bottles at people, throwing bedres, attacking people. And the police couldn't do much about it. Okay, they had their aloga and they were trying to disperse it. But for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, it was just carnage. I'm thinking, what the fuck is this about, man? This is absolutely ridiculous. And again, I was 20. This was 2007. So I was 26 at the time. I'm thinking, what the fuck is this about, man? What is this? And it's ridiculous. I mean, it's the tribalism, and I get it, right? The hooliganism was rife in the UK. It was, especially in the 80s.
Yeah.
I think when the English teams were banned from Europe.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Because of the Heysel. It wasn't a UEFA ban. It was actually Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
She's the one that recommended that English fans be pulled out of Europe because the Tories didn't like hooliganism. And, English football suffered. But again, we're talking about a completely different subject here. But at the same time, again, I've seen it with my own eyes. So when I hear about it happening in Cyprus, as I said, a small island where everyone kind of knows each other in one respect, it sickens me. It sickens me because, we heard about the Helios crash, right? And how it affected so many lives and how the nation united when it happened. Everyone was helping each other. And then you see that side, and then you see another side where you got supporters throwing Molotov bombs. I'm sorry, man. It just doesn't make sense in my head. It just doesn't.
Είπα σου ρε φίλε, ανοίγουμε ένα θέμα πολλά μεγάλο.
Yeah.
It needs.
Yeah. Anyway, listen. Let's move on. Let's move on. I've got two things to ask you then. Okay. We've got the cup game coming up.
Yeah.
You mentioned Botiak. You mentioned the changes that might be made. Do you think that the performance yesterday and last week against Olympiacos, while it wasn't a great performance, we got 4 points. Do you think coming into this game against Apoel, there are going to be changes? Do you think Henning Berg might make 3 or 4 changes in the lineup or even the system? Because maybe some players have had their opportunities now and perhaps they haven't delivered?
Like I said at the beginning, even though I wasn't surprised with the starting 11 and the formation, I expected a few changes, like I said, and maybe in the formation and 2-3 other players. But then again, I don't know what's in Berg's mind for the games to come, because obviously, like I said, he can't play these 3 games with the same 11 players. So I am expecting a few things to change, whether that be formation, whether that be, I'm expecting to see Johnny. I'm expecting to see Babuli. I'm expecting to see maybe Adam start the game. Okay, maybe Eric will be introduced. I don't think he's going to start again after all this time, but maybe Nambi Mesa. But that's the thing. We need to look a little bit more fresh. It's what I said earlier. Πρέπει να δείχνουμε λίγο πιο έτοιμοι. I don't want us to because like I said, there's 8 more games στο πρωτάθλημα and hopefully more than one στο κύπελλο. So we need all the players we can and to have them ready at all times. I mean, είπα σου ρε φίλε, φέρνονται κουρασμένοι, αλλά και φέρνονται και τέτοια φρέσκοι. I mean, we need that sort of oomph that at times. This is the impression that I get. And hopefully we're going to approach these games a little bit more, with a little bit more energy, let's say.
I'd love to see a Mavrias, a Botiak partnership just one more time, man. Come on, just give us one more. Like against Apoel as well, man, because on their left-hand side, they're not really great, are they? You know, if Dongala plays, okay, fine, he gave us a few problems, but I don't think Harris will have any problems with him.
For me, okay, yesterday, sorry, Fabiano, man of the match, but Sheu yesterday was very, very good. And with Olympiacos, I think for me, he was MVP with Olympiacos. So
I know you can't drop him, you can't, but sometimes he might need a break as well. You know, sometimes for fitness purposes, because you've got load and you've got volume, so the amount of stuff that they do at training, we don't see what happens in the training ground as well, how hard they work or what the methods are. So we don't know if that's going to have a long-term effect on the players as well. And as you said, you know, some players don't look as sharp as what we'd like them to be. So perhaps they do need a break. I know it's 1 game a week now, so it's not as if it's like when we had the...
Oh yeah, we played yesterday, Saturday. Then you got a game on Wednesday and then another game on Saturday. So it's 3 games in a week.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's with the cup though. That's with the cup game, isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
So last week we played Olympiacos on Saturday.
Saturday.
So they had 6 days of training and rest.
Yeah.
And then the 7th day they played. So Endaxi, we get through Apoel, let's say. So then the games are gonna be coming thick and fast, and I think there will be more rotation. But I think going into the Apoel game, we're gonna see some changes, I think anyway. But they drew against Buffalo the other day, didn't they?
Yeah, yesterday.
They drew against Buffalo. So, you know, again, I don't think they're going into their Vida Categoria. I don't think they're going in their balls deep. You know, they're not going to get relegated, are they? Unfortunately.
No, they're not.
So I think they're just playing for pride, which is, I think, again, what Anorthosis were doing as well, playing for pride. Because realistically, they weren't going to win the title. They're not going to win the title. But I think they're just there to do what chickens do and just get in the way, you know?
Ξέρω φίλε, είπα σου, mathematically, they can, realistically, I don't think. I mean, before yesterday's game, I gave them like a 10%. The way I saw, like if I had to give like percentages, I said 35% Omonia, 30 η ΑΕΛ, 25 Απόλλωνας και ένα 10 η Anorthosis. But obviously, Anorthosis played with Apollon and Omonia and they didn't win. So that's they're not gonna win the tie. I mean, I'm very, 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 very surprised and shocked because it's not just one team. There's three teams που πάνω τους. Καταλάβες. So, δεν μπορεί η Anorthosis. Δεν μπορεί να κάνει κάτι. But, okay. Να παιχτεί μεταξύ των τριών. Να δείξει, ρε φίλε. The balances change every week, depending on the game, on the scores. Σήμερα λαλούμε το τούτο, τα λεφτά μπορούμε να λαλούμε κάτι άλλο. So we just have to wait and see, take a game at a time, try and be closer to our top level, like Berg says all the time. You know, if we play on close to our top level, I'm confident enough that we're going to win it. But, you know, we have to be ready, or we might not, and that's going to be really, really disappointing because, you know, we're first. You mustn't just keep it alone, but you never know, and we have to be ready and be very careful. You know,
the thing is, I'm not going to lie to you. When we went through that difficult period where we weren't scoring goals and weren't winning games, I wasn't worried. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't worried. I always felt that when we got knocked out of the Europa League, we'd just get back into top form again and start blowing teams away, which is what we've effectively done. Yeah. But at this stage of the season, I think because it's so close between us and AEL, look, I didn't think that Apollon would keep up the pace or keep up what they were doing. Even when they brought in, you know, the players that they did when they sold Zalai, right? I still didn't think, oh, like they're going to win the league this season. I still don't believe that. We saw against Anorthosis the other day how they crumbled again, which, like I said, AEL'S. Anorthosis, when they were 7 points ahead of us, I didn't think they were going to maintain it because we've seen it, especially last season, where they fell off when it mattered. So that was always going to happen for me. But AEL are a different proposition. And Gerges, he is the glue that holds them together. Don't get me wrong, they're a fantastic unit. They're a good team, you know, players like Maier, Riera, Torres. Now they got Yorgil from Tottenham or Ipswich. Even the defense is okay, Vozinha I don't rate. But as a unit, as a team, they're dangerous. And I'm taking them very serious, man. They're not like the other teams I've mentioned where I felt that, yeah, they'll fall off eventually. I can see AEL pushing us right down to the final game. But it all depends on how we do against them home and away. If we beat them, the title's done. That's the way I see it. Win against them those two games, and we'll win the title. But they're going to run us very close, Fedos, man. I'm telling you, I've got a feeling about this one. They're a dangerous team.
AEL reminds me of Omonia last year. And ομάδα του προπονητή, they've got some very good players, some of the best in their positions, but they're a team more than anything else. They bring in players, and whoever steps into the equation, he helps, you know. And they're tough to beat. I think they 21 games στο Tsirion έχουν 20 νίκες. So yeah, I mean, AEL and Omonia have a lot of similarities as teams and as a football philosophy mentality. They've got the Kerkez and Berg written all over them, and οι προπονητές τους and το αλφα και το ωμέγα. They live and die from what their manager says and does, and they've got some good players, but they're a team more than anything else. Whereas Anorthosis and Apollon, not so much. But again, I feel when the differences are so slim, anything can happen. So we'll have to wait and see. But like I say, and now I'm looking at my team, and if we as Omonia play at top level, I think we said it a lot of times. It's for us to lose.
Well, this is it, and I think we've got to give Kekes a lot of credit because not just for the way that they're playing, but the way that he's integrated the new signings that they brought in. I think in the summer they signed Baba Fodi, they signed Danilo, Cito Riera, Bruno Santos. All these players have come into the team, and it's almost as if they've been at the club for years. And again, you've got to give the manager credit, because we've seen over the years many clubs in Cyprus bring in players for the sake of bringing in players. For me, he's very similar to Berg in the sense that he's identified key areas that are weak, and he's gone, right, I need a player for there, I need a player for there, I need a player. Not just signing players for the sake of signing players like other clubs. He signed players because they need it. Apollon, right? Okay, I know that the title isn't done and dusted, and this might come back to bite me on the arse. But the fact is, they sold Zalai for £2.5 million, and they spent some of that money to finish third. That's the way I see it. And we need to take them serious. I've got a lot of respect for him, man. A lot of respect for him.
Definitely. But OMONOIA is in no position to underestimate anyone. We're also a team in a process of becoming the team we used to be in the past. We haven't achieved much. If you think about it, okay. And we were first last year, but we didn't win a trophy. We are near the first position since the beginning of this season, but we're not like a team that, other teams fear, We're very, very close and very similar to all the other teams contending for the Daphne. So we're building character. We're trying to become, dominant in the league, but we're not there yet. We have a good team. We're on the right path, to achieve this. We've become better. We took giant steps, leaps towards that direction. But we're in no position to underestimate any team. Who at the end of the day, okay, what have we achieved to give us the right to underestimate other teams?
No one has the divine right to think that, mate. No one. Even the Scum, when they won how many titles in a row, I don't think they underestimated teams. I think they just went out with a professional attitude to win games, and that was it.
This is something you build, because Abuel needed 2, 3, 4 years of winning trophies back to back to build that sort of character of a team that was professional, and they were going to win one way or another. So that's why I say we should be humble, not necessarily, give the respect to the team, not too much, but, it's a process, and we're still in this process. So it's very important for us to take every game individually and then one by one.
Bravo. Right, one more thing before we finish it. Okay, I'm going to try something out. Okay, I'm going to try something out. I'm going to call it Roy's ratings.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to go back to what I said the other week about I can't believe I'm going to do this. Bursa, right? And Durta. Okay. Yeah. So when you look at the players that played yesterday, I don't want you to give them a rating out of 10, right? I want you to give a rating, Bursa or Durta. So if they played well, they get a Durta. If they didn't play well, Bursa. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so Fabiano.
Turta du gamur, φίλε μου.
All right, Shehu.
Again, turta.
What kind of turta though? From Zorba or just?
It's to bezzo, let's see.
Okay.
Ήταν καλή τούρτα. Ήταν birthday cake.
Right, so for potential sponsorship purposes, you can mention the companies, right? Right, Lejax. Quiet game, wasn't it? Quiet game.
Είχαν 3 παίχτες κλειστούς πάνω του. Defensively was okay.
Yeah.
Up, they blocked him, so I don't know. Sweet and sour.
All right, half and half. Okay. So what would you say then if it's like somewhere in the middle? Bursa, Turta, what are you going to put in there? Gubez. But Gubes are nice, man. You can't put Gubes in there. Like, you can't say Gubes are, Gubes are fantastic. What's that? I don't know. Patatas me avra. Sometimes you want it, sometimes you don't.
I think we should give numbers, man. And actually, this is something we can try and do it after every game.
Okay.
1 to 10. What do you think?
I think just Bussa and Dusta, but anyway.
Yeah, but you know, it's just two things. So if you say Bursa, you know, I mean, there's times that it's not, you know, black and white. It might be 6, it might be a 7, it might be a, you know, an 8. So then we have to add a net.
Yeah. But you know, to be fair, it's very difficult. Okay, I understand that yesterday wasn't the perfect match to do a rating for, but if you want to talk about over the course of the season, and I know someone messaged us ages ago saying, "Can you do a rating out of 10 for all the players so far this season?" I'm thinking, oh, the season hasn't finished yet, so maybe we should do it at the end of the season. But when I look at our squad, I think it would be very unfair to single out one player as the player of the year, because as you mentioned, Fabiano's been outstanding. Lejax has got 12 assists. He's a left back and he has 12 assists. How many left backs in the world have got 12 assists this season? I don't know many, if any. And then you look at Shehu that's coming at right back, that's made that spot his own. The centre backs, as we keep saying, have been outstanding. Gusu has come on leaps and bounds. Yordi. We keep reeling off these players, and you can't turn around and say, "Oh, this one has had a better season than this one." You can't do it this season.
I feel like you can get the average. The average is, you know, you can say, okay, all the players have played, you know, 8 out of 10, 8.5, 7.5, 7. There's a bit more potential. So the average is very close. It's not as if, you know, you've got 3 players that 10 και οι άλλοι εν 4, 5 και έρχεσαι σε έναν balance που είσαι 7. Εντάξει ρε φίλε, and don't be mind, but είμαστε ομάδα ρε φίλε. Okay, there's a group of a few players that I think they know that they could have done better, but they know it as well, and then the others, you know, and then we do talk sort of about it every week, you know, when we κάνουμε τα reviews των αγώνων, maybe a bit more generally. But, you know, είμαστε μια ομάδα, ρε φίλε. Είμαστε μια ομάδα και έτσι πρέπει να είναι. It's a team sport. It's not an individual sport. So, like I said many times, I'll take the 11 who play καλύτερα μαζί rather than the 11 best players. If you give me the 11 best, choose any 11 players you want, I'll try and choose the ones που παίζουν μαζί. This is what we said about AEL, and this is what we said about OMONOIA. Because Apollon's got more quality, but they haven't gelled this year. They haven't managed to play at the potential of the level. Why? Because they're not a team. They're individuals.
They should be clear by now, man, shouldn't they? If you think about it, the run that we had, where we were dropping points left, right, and centre, they should be clear. They should be clear. And again, it goes back to what you just said. That it's about the teamwork. But do you think it's got something to do with the managerial change? Do you think Avgusti would have made much of a difference if he had stayed? It's difficult, isn't it? Because AEK have done okay. They haven't done too much. You can tell, like Anorthosis, they're in it just for the sake of being in it now.
Ναι, σίγουρα. Η ΑΕΚ, ναι, σίγουρα. Δεν ξέρω, φίλε. I don't know. We spoke about this the other day. Ότι ο Πετράκης is a bit more, πώς το λένε,
Man manager or more of a tactician?
Όχι, πιο Sofronis used to work with his με το συναίσθημα. He would get
passion, yeah.
And this, but yeah, he was very passionate. He was like, let's score 2 are not enough. Let's score 3. Let's score 4. And you know,
like King Kong beating on his chest.
King Kong. And then he didn't keep a clear head, but Petragis seemed to be a bit more composed. That's the word I was looking for. But even though he's older than Sofroni, he's not experienced at this level of, you know, because if you see, when he went to Apollona, they were winning one game, they were dropping points at the next one, winning another one again. Αφού ήταν a couple of weeks ago, they were going to throw him out. So I don't know if Sofroni's would have been different, or if he would lose his shit as well, you know, because they do that sometimes. Αλλά εντάξει ρε φίλε, είπα σου, emme κοφτεί, κανένα. Θέλω πρωτάθλημα, θέλω κύπελλο και θέλω καμένε εμείς, I don't care how, ποιος είναι να παίξει, να μου να γίνει, θέλω το εγώ. I'm looking at my team only.
Yeah, I agree with you in that respect. But I think there's one more thing. I know I said I was going to wrap it up with the ratings, but there's one more thing. I know we've gone on for a bit too long here. March, we're in March now. International break is coming soon, and then so there's going to be a few players going on international duty. So I expect Lang to go, Hubachan, Duris, obviously the Cypriot players under the new manager. Fuck knows why he's been appointed, but that's another story. So we're going to have a lot of players going on international duty. Yeah. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we'll have the most players in the top 6 going on international duty, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, probably, if not one of, but no, I think.
So this might be a problem for us, and especially with the whole COVID restrictions as well.
Yeah.
So are we looking at possibly facing a difficult point in our season? Because again, if players go on international duty, they risk catching COVID. What are the what's it called, the quarantine rules in Cyprus now? I don't know these things, so yeah.
Definitely. We mentioned earlier that, you know, the energy level of the players is starting to become a bit more obvious. So adding games and traveling and training and all of that, it's not, we're not doing ourselves any favors. We're not, you know, so that's why it's very, very important that we get as much help as possible from the squad. I mean, okay, you can't deny then when you're called on for national duty, you have to go. So we can't like say, you know what, I don't care, I'm not sending my players because, you know, I want to win the title. Είναι καθαρό ρε φίλε, άμα νιώθεις ότι κουράστηκες και πρέπει να πιένεις και ταξίδια με την εθνική και να πιένεις και να έρχεσαι και να φοάσαι, because ας πούμε μπορεί να έχεις και τραυματισμούς, you never know what's going to happen. But it's another thing. I feel like we're getting close to the finish line, and every little bit matters. Whatever it is, I feel like. Everything is τώρα που τελειώνει το πρωτάθλημα, το κάθε τι είναι ακόμα πιο σημαντικό. Whether that's a mistake, whether that's όλα τα πράγματα, φίλε, όλα μεγαλώνουν τώρα. Δηλαδή το λάθος, η επιθετικότητα, η αποτελεσματικότητα, η τακτική, οι επιλογές, όλα, they matter a lot more because you're running against the clock and you don't have a lot of time to. It's as if, you know, we're playing a game, you concede a goal at the 82nd minute, you know, you've only got 8 more minutes to turn it around.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Ray, I mean, if you look at the fixtures, and I've just got them in front of me now, right? On the 24th of March, Cyprus are playing Slovakia. Yeah. So obviously, no, they won't have to travel anywhere. Our players anyway, Duris and Hubachan will be on the island, so that won't be a problem. I don't know if Michael's going to get called up for the Czech Republic squad, but they travel to Estonia. So, but again, I don't know if these games are going to be played in these countries because we've seen the Champions League games move to neutral venues. Spain against Greece on the 25th.
I'm thinking ότι μπορεί να, even if we do play at home, maybe they're going to go train with their team and then come back. Do you think that might happen with Slovakia? Ας πούμε, they're going to.
No, I don't think they'll go to Slovakia to train there
and wait for the rest of the team.
Yeah, because they'll be able to train they'll be able to train somewhere else. I know they won't be able to train at the Gazibi, but they can train. I don't know. Fuck knows. They won't travel far.
Anyway.
Yeah, but you know, if you look at the other fixtures, Spain are playing Greece. So if Hadis gets called up, which I doubt, but you know he'll be going to Spain for that game. Who else have we got? I haven't even checked if Nigeria are playing. I don't know if Shey's going to get called up for Nigeria. I don't know if Ghana are playing. So I don't know if Ernest is going to get called up for Ghana. Shepa, will he get called up for Serbia?
No, I don't think so, man.
No, who else? Who else? Yordi won't get called up, unfortunately. Who else? Thiago won't get called up for Brazil. Do you think Fabiano? I don't think he'll get called up for Brazil. He's smiling, man. You never know. Never know. Who else? Who else we got? Lejak. He might get called up for Czech Republic. You never know the way that things are at the moment.
Yeah.
So there's a potential loss there. We might lose him for the Estonia game. Are they playing again? They're playing Belgium on the 27th. So that, okay, we might have a lot of players traveling. And as you said, it's the traveling, it's the training, it's extra games. Obviously, COVID restrictions as well. So they might have to self-isolate for 10 days or however long it is when they come back. I don't know if other clubs are going to have those problemata, man. Will AEL have those problemata? How many internationals have they got?
Not sure.
Hardly any. Hardly any. So they've got an advantage already, isn't there?
Yeah.
Will Mai get called up for Belgium or Morocco? I don't think so.
No.
This is something that we need to factor in. You know, these are important things, man. You just don't know.
What can I say, referee?
Have all the other publications mentioned this? No, you only hear it on No Choftes, my friend.
On the one hand, it's a sign of how much you've grown, that you've got so many internationals, you know. But on the other hand, it's a price you have to pay because you do have international players. So you know you're doing something right, but that doesn't, you know, make it any easier for us.
Of course, of course.
It's
Right, that's it for another podcast. I thought it was only going to be half an hour, but we've gone on for over an hour. Philemon, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you getting up so early to do this. Obviously, we have our reasons for not recording straight after the game, but I blame myself. But anyway, it is what it is. Hade, you let everyone know your Instagram and all that kind of stuff.
Roy No Choftes and Stel
on Instagram.
And, the OLB channel on YouTube, where you can see our videos, show some support, show some love, you know. And
subscribe, like, etc., etc.
Like, tell your NOUNA.
Or your dada, if you don't have a NOUNA.
Or, you know, if you're with a religion that you don't have a NOUNA or a dada, whatever, you know.
Tell your neighbor.
Tell.
Lovely, excellent. So that's it for our episode. We'll be back very, very soon. We've got some interviews lined up. We were meant to interview Zelias, but unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. But it's still on. It's going to happen. Let's just call it technical problems. And we've got a couple more lined up, which I haven't told Roy yet because I only found out this morning. So I'm going to tell him after I press that stop button. So until next time, Gobelia, Roy.
Πάμε σιλακά μου. Θέλω πρωτάθλημα, θέλω και κύπελλο.
Bomba.